back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video I'm just going to be talking a little bit about my postpartum journey, kind of a bit of like what to expect in your postpartum, like your fourth trimester, and like some tips on kind of like how to deal with everything that happens in the fourth trimester, because I do remember like I didn't actually do a lot of research on the fourth trimester because I didn't actually think a lot happened. I knew like you had your baby and I thought that was kind of, that was it. Like I didn't think there was any other kind of like side effects, symptoms. Just like the first, second and third trimester, I didn't actually believe, well not that I didn't believe, but I just wasn't educated I suppose on the fourth trimester and how hard it can be actually on a lot of people. So I just want to share my experience, and I just want to share some tips that I have for you that has helped me kind of get through my fourth trimester. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So for me, my postpartum journey hasn't actually been too bad. I say like it was quite hard at a point, but it did like pick up and it was a lot easier. I would say that like a lot of the things that I felt is kind of like the normal like postpartum symptoms, I would say, as I know there is a lot of people who did and who just still do get postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. So if you feel like you're going through that, I would definitely urge you to speak to someone about that, whether it's someone you know or a healthcare professional, just anyone. There is help out there for you. So yeah, I didn't have any of those, thankfully. I am very glad for that, but I definitely did have what's called baby blues. So if you are pregnant and you're going to be a new mom, first time mom, so there is this thing called baby blues, which usually happens kind of like, I think it's day 3, they say, day 3 to 10, that it can start, and you basically just feel really down. All of the emotions and all of like the happy hormones and everything that you feel in pregnancy like literally rush out of your body like over those days, and you literally just get like a rush of like down emotions, sad emotions, crying emotions, like all of like the negative emotions. You get those days, and I definitely did experience that. I would say I experienced this kind of emotion for a couple of months actually, where I literally just cried at anything. It was really strange because you can't, that's one thing I'll say about postpartum, you can't control how your body feels. Just like when you're in pregnancy, you can't control that your body feels like really good, energetic, like you have like nice skin, nice hair, all the rest of it, like everything that pregnancy brings. Basically the opposite in postpartum. But yeah, so for definitely a couple of months I was definitely like a gun box. Like I genuinely, like anything would set me off. It was just really hard with my emotions. I would be sitting just and I would look at like photos of being pregnant, and I would be so like sad and start to cry. And I remember whenever I was pregnant, I couldn't wait for her to come out, especially in the third trimester, because I'm quite small, so she got very heavy in the third trimester, so I always felt like I just really wanted her out because I wanted that weight off me. And then I remember whenever I was in postpartum and I was looking back at the photos of me being pregnant, especially on like the day that she was birthed, I was like so sad that I didn't have the bump anymore. Like it's actually a thing, you do miss your bump whenever you're in postpartum. I'm okay now about my bump, and I'm glad I don't have it, but yeah, I would say it's definitely a real thing. Like you don't think you're gonna miss your bump because you've got this baby obviously on the outside and that's all you've ever wanted in your third trimester, but at the same time it's like, but the baby was like inside me, it was attached to me. Like now everyone's gonna want to look at it and see it and touch it and feel it and try and be with it, do you know what I mean? Whereas when it was with you, like you were the only person who could provide for it. So I think that's like a really hard transition to get through whenever you're going through the fourth trimester. I think for me the fourth trimester was definitely the hardest trimester. My first trimester I did have COVID, and I it was quite hard because I did have morning sickness and things like that. My second trimester was really good, and then my third trimester was just like, you know, she was really heavy and I just wanted her out. So I would say, like apart from like the morning sickness and the COVID, like my pregnancy was really straightforward. So the 4th trimester was definitely a big shock to me because I didn't experience any like emotions, like negative emotions or anything like that throughout my pregnancy. So it was definitely like a shock to my system whenever like I got home, and then I ended up just crying all the time, and it was just mad. So like that is one thing I will say to you, like you probably will cry like 500 times, and you can't control it. Like there's so many times where like even I was out with people or at someone's house, like, and I would have just like cried for no reason. Obviously my body had a reason, like I was emotional, I had just had a baby, obviously that is the reason, but in the like that moment you're like, oh my goodness, I'm crying for no reason, this is so stupid. So yeah, just know that it's normal and that like you will get through that stage, if you know what I mean. That is that was the biggest thing for the first month definitely, and then the first 2 months I was still having a bit of emotion, but definitely the first month that was definitely a hard thing for me to deal with, was just a lot of emotion. Like sometimes I'd be sitting on the sofa cuddling April and I literally start crying because I was so like, I don't know, just emotional, and it was so strange because you couldn't like stop the tears either, because you know how sometimes you can stop yourself crying. Like I literally just couldn't stop myself crying, and it was just, it's such a weird feeling. But no, if that does happen to you, like it is normal, and like every woman usually has baby blues. But if you think it is going a bit past baby blues, I would definitely just reiterate trying to get help for that. Mine was just baby blues because I never like had a low mood for like a long period of time. I'd maybe have a crying session and then I would be like fine again, you know, that kind of way. So it was just like trying to release those emotions. So yeah, that was like the height of it for me, which I'm very thankful for, and I'm very glad that it didn't go any further than that. So I had a C-section, and for me I think postpartum was quite hard with a C-section, especially for caring for your baby. So when you have a C-section, the only thing you're allowed to actually carry is your baby, because like the strain on your stomach, obviously, because you have had abdominal surgery. But if you have, like if you've just had a C-section and you're maybe like a couple days past postpartum, like into postpartum, or you know you've got a C-section scheduled, or you might have an emergency C-section. I'll just talk a wee bit about like my experience with recovering in postpartum with a C-section. The best advice I can give you is to take it slow and to let your body heal, because, and it's the same with I suppose a vaginal birth as well, like just listen to your body and don't do too much, because if you don't, then you're just going to overdo it, and then you're not going to be able to like do what you want to do, if you know what I mean, because it doesn't, like your body doesn't heal. I remember with my C-section, I couldn't walk up the stairs for a long time, like unaided. I couldn't carry my baby up the stairs, I couldn't carry anything upstairs. The only thing I could carry was my feet, and that was like really hard. I remember like trying to get up the stairs, and like Peter, my partner, would have had to like come behind me and like hold my back whilst he had April in his arms, and try and get us up the stairs. So like I always dreaded going up the stairs, but I always made it so like whenever I got up in the morning, I went down the stairs once, and whenever I was going back to bed, I went back up the stairs once, so I never went back up the stairs. And that's what's really good about my partner. He was really good because he was able to like get me things that I needed. If I needed stuff upstairs, he was able to get me them. And we have a downstairs WC, so I was able to go to the toilet downstairs, which was good. But yeah, it is really hard to get up the stairs whenever you're postpartum with a C-section. And like I remember there's sometimes like I literally like put one foot on the stairs and then I just started crying because it was so sore, and I was like, I don't know how I'm ever gonna get up there. And then when I get up there, I have to feed April, and it's like, you know, to go to bed and stuff, and that was really hard as well. And then I knew whenever I got up there I was going to bed, so then I was gonna have to do night feedings and stuff. So I think it was like a hard time. So that's another thing to be aware if you do have a C-section, like it is hard to get up the stairs. And also like I remember during the night, I used to wake up obviously to feed April because she would wake up, and there was sometimes I couldn't even like sit up because my stomach was so sore. Like it literally just, the pain would not let me actually like sit up. and I had to obviously wake Peter and be like, you need to like get her to the cot because she's just crying and I can't get up to her, which was really emotional and really sad for me, because then I'm like, I can't actually get to my baby no matter how much I tried. Like, it's really hard to explain, but you're like, my belly just would not let me like sit up because it was in so much pain, and I remember just crying so much that night, like those nights as well, because obviously I wanted to try and get to my baby and I couldn't, which was really good that I had my partner for that he was able to, and that was with taking my medication as well. But yeah, that is something else that happened to me that I remember. So yeah, I think with having a C-section it was really hard with the recovery, and like the first initial 2 weeks were really hard because I was in so much pain, but after those kind of like initial 2 weeks, I would say my pain kind of was managed, and it was manageable, and I was able to like get around the house by myself, and like get things for April and stuff myself, which was good because Peter obviously went back to work after the 2 weeks. So yeah, that was really good, and I was really happy that I was able to recover, like initially recover, you know, where I wasn't like in like really bad pain. There was still times like over the month and 2 months that I still had like a lot of pain in my stomach, but again I think that is all normal with a C-section. So yeah, that was like my experience with recovering with a C-section. So I would just say for advice with a C-section is just to take it really slow. If you can get aided going up the stairs, try not to carry your baby up the stairs, because they obviously add an extra heaviness to you, and yeah, just let yourself rest, let yourself heal. Even though it is hard looking after a baby in the postpartum, you still need to think about yourself as well, because like if you don't like take care of yourself, you'll not be able to take care of your baby in turn, which is what I always had in my head. So if I take care of myself, I'm able to like doubly take care of my baby, and I think that worked because I never like went too far, you know, where I was not okay. So another thing with just postpartum in general is to adjust with obviously baby life, and then what comes with baby life is lack of sleep. So lack of sleep is definitely one thing that is really hard to adjust to, and it can be like really and heighten your emotions as well because you're not getting sleep, because before, obviously, like before you're you give birth, you generally sleep through the night. Obviously when you're pregnant you don't get the best sleep, but you do get a lot more sleep than you do when you have a baby. I remember I was up like, so you're up like every 2 to 3 hours in the first couple of weeks with your baby, and that can be a lot, especially whenever you're so used to just sleeping, and that's when your body rests. So it can be really hard to like deal with that. Your body does get used to it. Like, she only does one feed now, but I am usually like a week, like a couple of times a night now still, just because like that's just what my body's got used to. So your body does get used to the lack of sleep, but for those initial like month, as well as with baby blues and all the rest of it, and like healing from birth and everything, it can be really hard to adjust to the lack of sleep. So that is just another thing to know, like sleep is like, you won't get obviously as much sleep as you need, and it will be hard, because it was definitely really hard for me to adjust to that. Another thing is multiple visits from the midwives and your health visitor and all sorts of people, which is really good in one way and it's really annoying in another way. Like, it's really good that, so I'm from the UK, so we get NHS care. It is really good that we get lots of visits and we have lots of help out there for us, but I think you get a visit like the day after you come home from hospital, and I just remember being like, I cannot see anyone, like, this is just so hard. And like, I remember April didn't sleep the whole night we got home, and I just got up the next morning and I was like, I just can't do this. But I think whenever she came, like, it just reassured, like, that's like a normal feeling as well. So it is good in one way. Like, you do dread it in a way because you're like, I don't want to see like a randomer in my house, but also it is good to have the support, and know that you're not alone in this journey, and you're also what you're feeling is valid and what you're feeling is normal as well. Because that's what I was told a lot, because, you know, they do ask you so many times, that's the mom, like, how are you feeling, are you okay? blah blah blah. And I think those questions like do really help, because like if you're not feeling okay, you can tell them and they will give you the right support and the right help, which is really good. So yeah, I definitely say there is a lot of visits, so just be wary of that, but it's also very good because they do help. You'll also, like, another thing with postpartum, and especially that I did feel as well, like I was so overwhelmed whenever I got home, and like I just didn't want anyone to touch my baby. Like I just didn't want anyone to hold them. I didn't want anyone to take her away from me. Obviously no one would, because she is my baby and I've just had her, but I think I just felt like, and it is a normal feeling as well, like that's what I was told by my midwives, normal feeling for you, like not to want to, like you want to keep your baby obviously, because they have been connected to you for 9 months growing in your belly, so it is normal for you to have that attachment to them, and you don't want anything to hurt them and like come to harm or anything obviously, so it is normal. But I just want to say, like, my experience with it, that it, like, I did feel it very strongly, and I was so scared for anyone to even hold her, and like whenever I was feeling hold her, I was like, got the binoculars, like, is she okay? And she was fine, like everything was fine in hindsight, like it was all fine. And like I always think in hindsight, like I was just so in heightened emotions, it was like insane, because now I'm like, yeah, of course, like why couldn't you have held my newborn, do you know what I mean? So, but all of the feelings you feel are valid, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So if you're feeling like you don't want anyone to hold the baby right then, just you keep them, and like it's better for you to like feel secure in yourself with your baby, rather than you give them to someone and then feeling really insecure and like getting like really uptight and like emotional and filled with anxious thoughts and everything. So I think it's better just to kind of do what you think's best for you, and you're the only person who'll know that, what's best for you and your baby. So that's definitely one thing to take from this video. The next thing I want to talk about with my experience is body image, and one thing, if you don't take anything from this video, is that your body does not heal overnight. Just take this from this video, your body does not heal overnight. I remember so many people saying, and I put a post on my Instagram about this, because I just remember so many people saying to me, oh, you'll bounce back, like you'll literally be exactly the same size you were before you were pregnant, you'll be back in your pre-pregnancy clothes before you know it, within a couple of weeks you'll be the exact same size. Like I remember so many people saying this to me, and then obviously that gives me false expectations for what my body's going to be like. And I just remember like in the first like month, and my body still wasn't the same as like pre-pregnancy, and I used to think to myself like, why do people say this to me? Because now I have like an expectation for my body to be in my clothes, my pre-pregnancy clothes and all the rest of it, and it's not actually true. So I will tell you, like, your body will not bounce back to what it was. Like my body has only just, like, I've only just started to fit into my pre-pregnancy clothes about 3 months postpartum. I'm now 4 months postpartum, but yeah, at like the 12-week mark is when I actually fit into my jeans, and for everyone it's different. So like some people might not fit in until 12 months, until 10 months, until 18 months, like it's all different for everyone. But I would say that, like, don't put pressure on yourself to like fit into your clothes straight away. I definitely, like, if I was to do it again, I would have like transition clothes, because I had my pregnancy clothes and I had my pre-pregnancy clothes, so like I didn't have anything in between. So I put on my pregnancy clothes and they were falling down because obviously I didn't have a bump to keep them up, and then I put on my pre-pregnancy clothes and they didn't button on me or anything because I still had a bump, like I still had a small bump. So it was like a really hard time for me to navigate, because I was like, why am I not fitting in these clothes? And now I have nothing to wear, and why is my body different to everyone's? Why can't I fit into these when everyone told me that I was going to bounce back into my normal clothes? So I think that was a hard thing for me, but I think you just like need to give your body time to heal and to rest. especially with a C-section, your body doesn't actually, your uterus doesn't actually shrink down until 6 weeks postpartum to its normal size. With a vaginal birth, it is actually only a couple of weeks, I think, but it's like 6 to 8 weeks for your uterus to actually return to its normal size from being obviously given birth and stuff. So you have to let that initial healing like happen before your body actually starts to heal itself. One thing that I'll always say, and what I'll always try and remember myself, is it took 9 months for your body to grow a baby and change and create a big bump. It's going to take at least another 9 months to get back to its normal size and to get back to like it feeling the way you did, because obviously it's had this big change. It's not going to just change overnight again, because my body's still recovering. I'm actually going to go to boxing, which is mad, I know. I'm actually going to be starting exercise soon, which will help aid with my fitness and everything. But I haven't felt comfortable until now 4 months postpartum to do that. And some people again will feel maybe 12 months, maybe 1 month. It's just different for everyone, but just give yourself time and don't put too high expectations on yourself. So yeah, that was just a little bit of my journey with postpartum. Overall, I'd say my journey with postpartum was good. It wasn't it wasn't overly negative for me. I think I had like all of the symptoms that are usual with postpartum, which I'm very grateful for that I didn't have anything further. So yeah, that was just a little bit about my experience and my journey with postpartum, and I'm still on this recovery journey from having April anyway, but up until this point that's how I'm feeling. And I'm feeling pretty good. Like I'm back to my normal emotions, I'm back to my normal like happy self and joyful spirit and everything like that. So and I definitely say I would probably be like 2.5–3 months is when I kind of gained myself back again. But again, that journey's different for everyone, so don't just take it from my journey. But I do just want to share it with you. The last part of this video, I just want to give some tips on how to deal with postpartum and how to prepare for postpartum. Because I know that I would have loved to have had one of these videos, or like I should have really looked up one of these videos when I was in my 3rd trimester, because I just like didn't know anything about postpartum. So now that you know a wee bit about my experience, I just want to give some tips that I found helped during my postpartum. So the first one is prepare a mental health plan. You may need it, you may not need it, but I think it's better to prepare one just in case you need it, because you don't know how your body's going to react. So even if you've never had any like mental health problems in the past, postpartum can actually bring on new mental health problems. So I would definitely suggest that you like plan, even if it's just like writing down like a couple of things of your mental health, a mental health plan. So like a part of this plan could be just having someone to talk to and like telling them, look, you are my person that I'm going to talk to if I'm feeling this way. I definitely had this kind of without saying, or well, not without saying, but I did kind of offload all of my feelings onto Peter, which is my partner, and he was that person for me. So like if I was feeling a certain way, so that I didn't want it to escalate any further, I said to him, look, this is how I'm feeling, and he was able just to chat me through kind of like my feelings and kind of give me a plan on how to get out of like those feelings, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's just one big thing that I would say to anyone who is about to have a baby, is just to prepare a mental health plan. Another big thing I would say, and a big tip I would definitely say, is create a visitor's policy. We actually did this as well. So we had like a day we had a day and a time and how long they could stay for, just so that we didn't get overwhelmed. Like for the nanny and granda, and then the nana and paps, we had those times like where they could come and see us and see April obviously, and I think that really helped us to enjoy her when she was young, as well as like not be overwhelmed by loads of people coming in uninvited and kind of like not knowing what to do or say, because it can be quite like overwhelming when people are here, especially when people are like handling your baby and stuff whenever it's only like a few days postpartum. So make that decision before you give birth, and make the decision of like when you want them to come. Is it a couple days after, is it a week after, is it one day after, you know, just make that decision before so that you don't have to stress about it after. Another tip is, I would say, stock your nest, stock your house up. One thing I did when I was pregnant, when I went on maternity leave, is I pre-cooked and batch cooked a lot of meals for us, because I knew that we probably wouldn't want to cook whenever we got home with the baby, because the baby would be all consuming, which I was very correct in that. So yeah, I batch cooked like 5 different meals, and had like maybe a couple portions of each, and then I just put them in like wee containers and froze them, and then it meant whenever it got to dinner time, we were able to take them out of the freezer and pop them into the microwave, and we literally had our dinner. So yeah, that's what I did. Just think of like dinners that you could batch cook, which is like chicken curry, what else do we have, like chicken and sweet potato, all those sort of things where you can just like pop, like you can just cook. I remember I cooked for like a day in my 3rd trimester, and I was just like, or like in my, nearing the end of my pregnancy, I just cooked and then just put them all in like these wee tubs, and I just had like loads stacked up. So I would definitely recommend doing that if to help with your postpartum journey. The next one is kind of like plan things to keep you entertained. Obviously you will be very entertained with your baby, your baby's all consuming, but I think just things like when the baby's napping, not even when the baby's napping, but just like you will be at home for a long time. Like I do enjoy being at home for a long time. Well, actually the thing that I do now to keep me entertained is YouTube and like Instagram and stuff like that. So that is like one hobby that I've picked up in postpartum, like not postpartum, but in just in general of having a baby. But yeah, just pick something. If it's like getting a new book, just to have, like, to take your mind off just being a parent, like just being a mom or a dad, just something to have like an escape, you know, like, or if it's a new TV show, a TV show to be ready, so that you have that to escape as well, just so that you have something to prepare, like to have, you know, to keep you entertained when you have your baby. And my next one is set realistic expectations. Don't just like put all of your eggs in one basket, and if it doesn't work out, like get overwhelmed and annoyed. Like just let yourself go with the flow, like just let you enjoy the time that you have with your new baby. I remember the first 2 weeks, like although it was hard and although like I was sore and I was recovering from like a big surgery, and that I had to take my painkillers and all the rest of it, like I made sure that I enjoyed all of the small moments of my little baby, because like they do not stay small for ages. Like I just can remember like thinking back now, and she was just like a wee tiny little baby, and now she's just like a big baby, and she was just a little squish. So I would definitely say like just try and enjoy all of the small moments. That is one thing that I definitely kept thinking to myself, even in the midst of like these emotions, these horrible feelings, these the pain in my stomach, just the lack of sleep, like amidst all of the negative things that comes with giving birth, like you have this little tiny human who you are like prepared, like who you are responsible for, and who love you so much. Like just enjoy all of their little moments, because they're never going to be that small again, and they're never going to be that age again. So just enjoy them all, like, well, try and enjoy them all in the midst of all of the things that I can't even remember what I was saying. Set realistic expectations, that's what it was. Yeah, so kind of like just set things, like don't expect yourself to be like this perfect like new mom that's like got everything together the next day, because it won't happen. Like it takes time to get to know your baby, it takes time for your baby to get to know you, it takes time for your baby to get to know this world and to be like, to understand being outside of the womb. So just give yourself that grace period and just enjoy it. Like that is like one big thing that I can just say to you is enjoy it. And then the last thing I have, which I kind of have mentioned before, is like go on walks and get out of the house. Obviously not in the first initial couple of weeks, but I remember like saying to Peter, like, if I just don't feel myself, if I just feel really down, just tell me just to go for a walk. And we did that, and it really helped me just get out and get fresh air, and to be able to know that like there's a world outside where, you know, everything is normal. Do you know what I mean? And even though there's this mad change in our lives. So yeah, anyway, that was just another wee extra thing that I wanted to add in there. Yeah, that is kind of like everything, like all my tips that I have for postpartum, and also kind of like a wee bit about my experience. It was kind of a little bit jumbled there. I hope you've kind of made sense of it a wee bit and kind of took something away from this video. But yeah, that is me for today. I hope this has helped in some way. I feel like I've just rambled the whole video, but I hope that you have taken something from it. And yeah, I just thank you so much for watching my video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, give it a big like down below, and if you like my channel and want to see more from me, do hit the big subscribe button down below. And if you have any like video suggestions for me, leave them in the comments, as I would love to do some of your video suggestions. And follow me on Instagram as well. It's at Megan Ruth with an extra H and an underscore. I will leave it on screen. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!